Baseball is back, and we want to celebrate by slashing the cost of any daily picks packages. That includes a baseball play by 50%, including 5% best bets. This amazing promotion runs from Thursday, April 7th, when 18 of the 30 MLB teams take part in opening day, to midnight on Wednesday, April 13th, and you can get $25 daily packages for $12.50, $29 daily combo packages for $14.50, $35 5% best bets for $17.50, and $39 5% best bet combo package for $19.50. Whether you never bet on MLB or just like discounts, save 50% on baseball picks for the entire first week of the baseball regular season.
Hey guys, welcome into WagerTalk TV. I'm Andrew McInnis, and you are watching Puck Time. We're happy to have you here. We have only a 3-game slate in the NHL, but we have the Prez on, so it'll always be a fun and entertaining show. Then, of course, plenty more promotions, best bets at the end, and all kinds of other things to come in this show. Quick recap for myself yesterday. Started off as a 2-0 day. Baseball, I had 2 afternoon plays, including that 5% play. A lot of you guys joined me on it. It was on the Cleveland Guardians. I got a little sweaty at the end, but then a nice grand slam closing out that game. Cash ticket for me. Hockey didn't go as well as the baseball. 0-2. I had 2 games go past regulation. 1 lost in a shootout. 1 loses in overtime. We move on to today. But a 2-2 split for me across all sports. That promo code, though, is still applicable, guys. You can still use that Mound3, 3 days for the price of 1. But Carm, you are now on an 8-0 NHL run. You've had a great read on a lot of these situational spots here in the month of April and late March. I want to ask you how your night was, but I know it was a good one, man. Congrats.
Yeah, no, thanks. It didn't start well. I had a soccer game that did not go completely bad read. It wasn't really a bad read. It's just it didn't play out the way I thought it would. But thankfully, a couple NHL winners yesterday to keep a good run going. 8-0 run in NHL. Washington completely spanked the Flyers in regulation 9-2, which was great. And and then the LA Kings, which I thought, the Kings, like I said, they have, if you look at their schedule, they have a very playoff-friendly schedule. It's all on them on whether they make the playoffs or not. They only play one playoff-bound team, and that's tonight in the Colorado Avalanche. After this, it's a diet of the Anaheim Ducks, Chicago, Arizona. They're teams that they should be beating. So we'll see if they can live up to expectation, because that race is pretty good, especially with Vancouver beating Vegas last night, and that game going to overtime actually got Vegas a point as well too. So it wasn't that bad a result for them, although they probably would have preferred to win. So it's a pretty good playoff race. Last night, some really good games. Playoff hockey last night. I talked about the last couple of weeks, Andrew. We're seeing some playoff hockey. That Carolina-New York game, if you had the under, that I consider that a bad beat. 2 goals in the last 90 seconds, including an empty netter with about 6 seconds left, pushes that game over the total. But a very good game by Carolina. And then you look at even the St. Louis-Boston game, a very good playoff-type game. There were some really good ones. Even Nashville winning in overtime, doing what they needed to do to get a win, even though it was against San Jose. We're seeing some really good games. As far as the OT stuff, Andrew, I get it, man. OT is where good bets go to die. It's like 3-on-3 and shootouts. And if you watch that shootout with, I think it was the Pittsburgh New York Islander game, it's just, a team that talented couldn't even get a decent shot on goal. So, but the one game I did watch with my friends, we went out, had some beers and had some food, was their Leaf fans, so we had to go watch the Leafs and Sabres last night. Speaking of the Leafs, hello, Prez.
Hello, Carm. So, a bunch to say. We're going to try drag the show to 11:52. So far, Andrew, I'd like to just mention the highlight of the show. I'm Carmine Bianco. So yesterday I lost my soccer play. It wasn't a bad read. The game just didn't play out how I thought it would. What is the definition of a bad read? That Anyway, Carm wants to give me grief about the Leafs. Go ahead. Good thing they're not going to be playing the Sabres in the playoffs for about the next 10 years.
It probably is a good thing.
Yeah. Whoa, no, it is. Dude, teams have teams' numbers, man. Look, unlike the Philadelphia 76er fans, we don't have to meet a team that dominated us all season in the playoffs. Lost my NHL play last night. I was on that Nashville play that Carm was talking about. Outshot San Jose. I think last I looked, what was like 40-19 or something. 40-19, give or take. Had a goal turned back offside. It was legit. Offside by an inch. 4 goal posts. But I'm still seeing everything great in hockey. I released 3 plays on the presidential address yesterday. I went 3-0. Shout out to one of the guys, Keith Landry Jr. He actually put all 3 of my plays in a parlay, sent the ticket in on Twitter, thanking me and telling me shawarmas are on him today. So, yeah, I feel good. Lost my baseball play, won my basketball play. I had a 1-2 night. Could be better, but hey, man, we're going to have those often. Also want to point out that I'm liking your hair, Andrew. Carm, I'm liking your hair as well. I don't want you to feel left out. That's it.
Well, thank you, Prez. I like your sweater. Repping the WagerTalk.
Yeah.
I like it, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
Awesome. Whoever picked these sweaters, brilliant. The best is the side pocket, the pockets on the side of zippers.
You know who picked those ones? I believe it's Johnny Detroit. Those ones came with the Detroit crew to the meet and greet. Yeah. I think that's where you got that. And Johnny sent them. I'm pretty sure Johnny sent them. They weren't part of the swag that I ordered for that meet and greet. So and we had them there. So I'm pretty sure it came with our Detroit crew, and you got one of them. Those are pretty cool.
Yeah, actually,
I like them because they're like athletic wear. Like you can wear them in the spring, and you're not going to get too warm. Speaking of clothing, if we're going to talk about this, shoppucktime.com. Might as well give a quick little plug there. Get all the Puck Time clothing you need. Shoppucktime.com. But let's get into the games, guys. We might as well jump in. We have 3 games. We have the Montreal Canadiens, the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Seattle Kraken. That game's canceled. We have the LA Kings and the Colorado Avalanche. And I'm all messed up now because of the canceled game. What game am I missing here, guys? What game am I missing here?
You're missing the LA Kings in Colorado and the Rangers in Philadelphia.
New York Rangers and the Philadelphia Flyers. My fault, guys. The first game we will jump into, we have the Montreal Canadiens and Columbus Blue Jackets. And we have Columbus, current price, minus 165. Montreal, plus 140 on the road. Total sits at 6.5 in this one. And it appears that Samuel Montembeault will take the net for the second consecutive start here for him. And for Columbus, Elvis will be in the building. Elvis Merzlikins projected to be the starter for the Jackets. And guys, for both these teams right now, it's tough to argue anything but an over. Defense is wearing down. There's lots of youth on both these teams right now, getting lots of experience. And you take a look at the Blue Jackets. I mean, their offense isn't really too bad. It's just their defense that lets them down on a consistent basis. They kind of remind me of the New Jersey Devils, a team that doesn't always struggle to score, but their defense and goaltending will remind them that, hey, you're probably going to have to score 5 or 6 goals in order to win this game because we are going to let you down. And, a point that I've made about the Montreal Canadiens is that for their goaltending situation, they've had a 3rd and 4th stringer in net pretty much the whole season. And Montembeault, he's not an NHL starter. He's done well. He's filled in and had some decent games. But if you would have told him at the start of the year how many games he'd be playing this year, he would have told you you're lying to him. It would have been a joke. This guy has had so many games where he's been the starter. He's been overworked. Jake Allen is now injured. Carey Price is trying to come back to end the season. A lot of youth on the blue line right now for the Montreal Canadiens. I don't trust them defensively. I think the over 6.5 is the play here. That's where I'm going to look. I don't like the price on Columbus. I don't really love the price on Montreal based on kind of how busy their schedule has been lately. I'm just going to expect goals in this one and go over 6.5 here. Karen, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't blame you on that, Andrew. My only fear in looking at the total here is having watched the Montreal Canadiens last couple of games, and I was at the game this past Saturday where they were in Toronto against the Leafs, and the Leafs can make a lot of teams look bad, but Montreal looked absolutely like listless. They looked lifeless in that game. Not a lot of opportunities. I think they only had like 22 or 24 shots on goal in that one, but they never looked, even though the final score was 3-2, they never looked like they had a shot to win that game. And then they followed it up with that game against Winnipeg, where again, I don't think they looked very good in that game. And I think that total was 6.5 and finished 4-2. They didn't even pull their goalie in that game, down 2 goals. Down 2 goals, I think, with like a minute and a half left. Didn't pull their goalie down 4-2. I just don't get it. Listen, they had a good reaction to Marty St. Louis becoming the coach, and they played better, but I think they're just tailing off now, and I think we're going to see a few more losses from this team. Do I want to take Columbus at minus 165? Not really, but if I had to pick a side, it's going to be Columbus. Even though they've won 2 of their last 3, I get it. You look at the teams they're playing, the Flyers, Detroit, but at least they're competing in the games, and that's what you want. Is you want a team competing, and they're going to compete at home against in front of their fans. So with that said, I'm not going to try and get fancy with a regulation type play or an over and under. I'm just going to take Columbus and likely lay the $1.65 here. Prez?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Carm, I think you did a great job breaking this game down. I understand where Andrew's going with the over. Listen, if I had to bet a total on this game, I would bet over. I don't have to, so I won't. Last 2 games they've played, Montreal, both games have gone under. In their last 10, they're 5-5 to the under. And I agree, Carm. This Montreal team, I mean, you want to know how bad Montreal is? They're trying to come last, and they still can't. Columbus, they're a team that had a huge losing streak. Well, the whole season's been a losing streak, but they lost 7 in a row. Then they beat Philadelphia. Then they lost to Philadelphia. And then they beat Detroit. This Columbus team, I think, is a team that I'm going to look to play on or to the over for the next week or 2 as the season winds down. I like them in regulation here, Carm. I get the, minus 165, but you're getting plus 105 in regulation. I'm a regulation better. I mean, I lost last night with Nashville in regulation, but I'm a regulation better. I'm going to take Columbus in regulation, and I honestly suggest you guys join me on this. This is an actual bet I'm going to make. I think Montreal is done. I think Montreal is going to win at most 2 games out of their last 9 to 10.
Well, hopefully they win next Saturday. I'll be in attendance. I'm traveling to Montreal with some family and
Why
seeing
would
them play
you want
against
them
the
to win?
Bruins.
Why? They're 2 games. They're only 2 points behind Arizona for the last spot. Look,
I will never, ever, ever, ever in my life be the kind of fan that celebrates after my team loses a game.
I'm not asking you to celebrate. Nobody's asking you to celebrate.
Whatever happens. No. If we get a good draft pick and we come last,
and
that's what you have Cole Caulfield and we have Austin Matthews.
But listen, in all honesty, whether they finish 32nd or 31st, you still have to. The percentages are very close as far as the winning the lottery. So, but I get it. You want to have a few percentage points better to win that lottery pick. With the Sabres winning it, they got.
He'd rather have the immediate. He'd rather have the immediate gratification of winning a game because he is part of that generation that needs immediate gratification.
Not at all. I just don't want to cheer for my team to lose for 6 years like you probably did to get William Nylander, Marner, and Matthews to amount to nothing.
So. I will say this, Andrew. You have a very good chance of being at a game where Carey Price makes his season debut this year. He's been on the ice. He's been taking practice, and he could be very close. And if he's going to play a game this season, it's going to be at home in front of his fans, and likely on a Saturday night where all the media is going to be there. So and on national television as well too. So you could be seeing Carey Price for the first time this season. I don't know if it makes a difference. I'll be honest with you, but at least you get to see him.
Yeah.
Well,
Andrew, I got a question about this.
Real...
I got a question about this hoodie. See, WagerTalk hoodie. Can they get these hoodies at the Shop Puck Time site?
They can't. They can only get the one that's the black hoodie with the Puck Time logo,
which is a nice hoodie too.
Yeah, it's comfortable. We've got some shirts and different things like that, but we'll work on that. I think, but Prez, that those hoodies that you're wearing will be at the next meet and greet. That it sounds like Johnny started planning the weekend after the one we just had. So I can only imagine what that next one's going to be like, but I'm sure there'll be lots of hoodies there as well. But guys, our next game here, Prez, I'm going to go to you first on this one with the Rangers and the Philadelphia Flyers. Flyers are plus 170, and hats off to Carm. He faded the crap out of them yesterday, and they got their asses kicked. I mean, there's nothing else to say about it besides that. The Washington Capitals showed up. They got the job done, and they did not take their foot off the gas pedal, putting up 9 goals. The Rangers, however, they lost last night to Carolina. We talked about that game on the show yesterday, and Rangers have been playing some pretty good hockey. They're minus 200 here, Prez. And kind of the spot where I'm looking here, Prez, is the first period over 1.5. And you can get that at like minus 125, 130. I look at that kind of spot. You have two teams that are off a loss. Philadelphia, they got spanked yesterday. They're going to try and show some heart. I don't want to count on the full game over. I'm going to look for 2 goals in the first period here. What do you think about that one?
Well, I mean, I never bet those plays ever, Andrew. So I honestly have no opinion. I mean, I lean to the game going over the total because, well, Philadelphia is just not playing much defense. Last night, 9-2 loss to Washington, 5-2 loss to Anaheim. This game's interesting though. You've got the New York Rangers, so much better a team than Philadelphia. But this is one of those games where what happens in that Philadelphia dressing room? After a 9-3 loss, they can't be happy. The coach has to be mad. How do they rally? How do they regroup? Do they regroup? It's a back-to-back situation. Do they have enough time to regroup? This game intrigues me. I look at the Rangers here, again in regulation. I just see no reason why not to bet the Rangers. I think in this spot they would win. In regulation here, Andrew, you're paying 130. So ultimately, if they win 6 out of 10 times in this spot, you're pretty much breaking even. I think they would win 6 out of 10 in this spot. I like the Rangers in regulation. I'm curious what the Flyers do. I will say this. If the Rangers go up 2-0 early, I would continue to bet the Rangers in game. I think we'll see a blowout.
It's a real good point you make there, Preds, because the Washington Capitals yesterday, if you're an in-game bettor and someone looks at that kind of stuff, a lot of times people look towards in-game and they think about it from the other perspective, Prez, where, I was kind of excited on Twitter about taking the Jays when they were down 6-0 in their opener. You want to look at the team that's down, the Panthers. Every second game, they're down 3 goals and they somehow win. But there's also that other angle. The team like the Capitals last night and what you're saying, maybe the Rangers tonight, that doesn't take their foot off the gas pedal and keeps on going. So it's a great stuff there, Prez. And I wanted to mention as well about Alexander Georgiev. He is somebody, and Carm has talked about this as well. The secondary goaltenders, the disrespect they get based on just not being a comparable to the number one, to me, it is a huge difference and something that we all have to recognize from an odds circumstance. And the reason why I mention that, because it's like Kelly Stewart always says, and Gianni and Marco on their Bet On It show at the NFL season, every single thing that we know is made into the line, is already adjusted in these odds. So if Shesterkin is playing tonight, it's not minus 200 for the Rangers here. And the amount of messages I'll get if I release New York and Shesterkin isn't the starter saying, hey, do you still like this play? Do you still like this play? Of course. It's not like, Carm, Prez or I are in nets tonight just because it's not Shesterkin. These guys are still NHL caliber, and Georgiev is still a good goaltender. Oh, yeah. And he's playing against the Philadelphia Flyers tonight. So I just wanted to mention that because, a lot of times people think the sky is falling when a backup goalie is in net. And, not all backups are trash, guys. Some backups can be great for their teams. So I just want to mention that real quick. But, Carm, what are your thoughts here, Rangers and Flyers?
Yeah, listen, Georgiev's won, I think, 5 straight games. 3 of those games have come on the road. And obviously they weren't against high caliber teams, but you beat who they put in front of you, whether it was Anaheim, whether it was Detroit. He still got the wins in those games. He's been in a couple other games where it's sort of mop-up duty. The Rangers haven't forgotten losing on home ice against Philadelphia about a week ago. They played, and this is going to sound weird, but they played flat in that game. And only really got into that game in the third period where they tied it up before losing in a shootout. They had 46 shots. So it sounds weird that to say a team played flat when they had 46 shots on goal. But there were a lot of perimeter shots. The Flyers just gave them nothing up the middle, or they just didn't go up the middle. They just misfired that whole game until the third period came along, picked up a point by going to OT, but still lose it in that game. Had a chance to win it late in the third period with a power play that, again, misfired. You can look at this game a couple ways. Obviously, if you don't want to lay the money, like Prez said, you could take the regulation. You can tie this one into the game that we're going to talk to shortly and take the Rangers minus whatever that is, 200, along with the Avs, who I think are likely going to win tonight, because that is a meaningful game for them as well, too. And you're going to get plus 110 on your money, parlaying those two together. Or another way to look at it, which I think I like just as much, is taking the Rangers in this spot in the first period. You could lay the half a goal and get plus 120 on your money. Listen, Philadelphia, I understand they lost 9-2, but if they, where was their response from the previous game where they lost 5-3 to Anaheim after blowing a 2-0 lead? They were outscored 5-1. They've been outscored 14-3 in the last 5 periods of NHL hockey. That's not a team responding. You got one of their obviously main guys or heart of the team that might have said something in the dressing room. He's now playing in Florida in Giroux. So you lose a leader. This team is just playing out the rest of the regular season. Could they win tonight? Of course they could. We saw last night Buffalo as a big dog winning. The Islanders, as a small dog, winning. But dogs will win as this season closes out. But a team like the Rangers looking to hold on to that number 2 spot in the Metro, and with still a chance, even though they lost to Carolina yesterday, they still have a chance to win the Metro with their schedule. So, with that said, it's the Rangers here. You can tie it into Colorado and get some plus money there if you don't want to lay the heavy juice. And you know me, I don't lay prices of minus 200 with my clients.
Nor do I, Carm. Hey, Andrew, we have a listener in the chat room, Cubano's Cheesecake. I love cheesecake.
Me too.
Send me some cheesecake, especially if it's got the mascarpone cheese. How was that, Carm? Was that nicely Italian, the mascarpone? No? Medium?
Carm doesn't look impressed.
No, sorry, I was looking at a comment. A guy says you can't compare losing a 5-3 game to losing a 9-2 game. You can when you're winning 2-0 at home to Anaheim and you get outscored 5-1. Think about the 5-1.
Brandon Katz.
The final score. It puzzles me, the comment I see when you see something like you can't compare. That's embarrassing to a team. You lost to Anaheim, who probably have 1 win in their last 20 games, and you get outscored 5-1 over the last 40 minutes of a game that you're winning 2-0 on home ice, and you don't think that's embarrassing. Please.
Can we get back to my cheesecake?
Sure.
Okay. I don't know what it was that we had for dessert at the place we went to in Burlington, but that was good cheesecake, I think.
Oh, dude. In Aspen, I had the greatest single dessert of my entire life. I got to show you a picture of this thing. Oh my God. I actually went twice.
Before you
Here
show the
it is.
picture, Prez, I gotta
there it is.
I gotta tell people out there that are watching this. I knew Prez for several years before actually meeting him in person. And one thing I could say about Prez, everything he says, he means, and it's a strong opinion. I've never heard you say once, yeah, I had this cheesecake and it was okay. Everything you have,
no, I'll say that. It's not always good opinions. So, dude, but dude, there's a brownie on the bottom, scoop of ice cream on top, vanilla, and then above that are these pastries that they make inside. That thing on the top is a white chocolate bomb. They throw dulce leche over it. The white chocolate melts over the whole thing with a big piece of milk chocolate in the middle of it. On edibles, dude, that thing was sexual.
If you want to pick up that dessert, you can get it on Shop Puck Time. It'll be shipped to you in a nice cooler. But when I'm
where's
looking
my
for
cheesecake?
When I'm looking for
bragging
food
it's best in New York City.
Can we mute this guy's mic? When I'm looking for food recommendations, there's only one guy, WagerTalk, I want to talk to about it, Marco D'Angelo. He used to write an article for Gaming Today in Las Vegas, and his restaurant recommendations are unbelievable. He rated everything in forks, 3 forks, 4 forks.
He's also double my size, so he's eaten twice as much. With that said, I'm willing to go with my recommendations, and a shout out to the Supper Club in Aspen for the world's greatest dessert of all time. Where's my cheesecake, Cubana?
Of all time. Oh, there's just so much to say. I wanted to comment about the pictures in Prez's photo library that we all got to see, but I don't even really have time to go through that. And some of the apps I saw on his phone too. We don't even want to get into that either.
Yeah.
But
at the end of the day, Andrew, Marco is the king. And speaking of the Kings, it's the Kings and Avs tonight. Let's have a look at the odds on this one.
Well done, Carm. Well done. The Kings, they are plus 205 on the road. Colorado, minus 255. Totals at 6 here. We've talked about teams that are desperate. We've talked about teams that are fighting for a spot. And then we have the Colorado Avalanche that have been the favorites to win the Stanley Cup pretty much the entire season. Or actually, not pretty much. They have been the entire season. If you want them to win the Western Conference, you're pretty much getting the exact same odds as you're getting right now on the Phoenix Suns to win the Western Conference. Not very good odds. But let's take a look at things for the LA Kings right now in this one here, Carm. The odds are appropriate, in my opinion. You take a look at what the Kings have done recently, past 10, 15 games. What have they really done? Well, they've defeated the teams they should beat. Seattle, Chicago. But any type of test, they haven't really shown up. Maybe there's been a couple one-goal games in there, but I don't know. This Kings team picked the wrong time to stop scoring goals, but also to stop playing well defensively. Of course, Drew Doughty has been shut down for the season. You talk about that parlay piece, Carm, and we haven't talked about, doing 2-teamers on this show, and it feels like months. But it feels like that could be a good idea with the Rangers and Colorado here, especially with Colorado playing a little up and down over the past couple of weeks, but mainly defensively. And I feel like they want to shut down LA tonight here. So I agree with your 2-teamer here. Is there anything else you like?
Yeah, no, it's a tough one because if Colorado wasn't, and we're talking about they have the West locked up, but they want that President's Trophy, but they're tied with Florida right now. Excuse me, with about 10 games left, they still want that. So they're going to go out there and they're going to compete. I don't think they're managing minutes. This team is just going to play right through the rest of the regular season and into the playoffs, and then we'll see what happens in the playoffs, but they still want that President's Trophy. They've held over this LA Kings team, not just this year winning a couple times, but also last season winning 7 of 8 times against the Kings. So I just don't see them dropping it. I would love to see the Kings go in there and get some points just because I want them to make the playoffs, but I just don't see it happening. Again, big favorites don't always win, Andrew, but this is one of the ones where the Kings are off a win last night against Chicago. They're in the second half of a back-to-back, and you're playing an Avs team that have had, 3 days of rest, I believe, between that game against the Edmonton Oilers. So I'm going to take the Avs here. I'm not going to lay that price. I'm just going to tie it into a two-teamer with the New York Rangers. Prez?
Cheesecake. I'll make this really quick. I'm with you, Carm. I mean, the only bet here is Colorado. I got no issue if you take them in regulation or -1.5. Kings back-to-back games. They're also been really, really bad of late. They did win last night. It's not a good spot for the Kings. I mean, if these two teams face each other in the first round, it would be a sweep. They're just not equal in any realm. Cheesecake. I'm like all three games. I have no issue if you take the favorite in regulation in all three games. So throw them all in a parlay, and when you win, send me some cheesecake.
There we go. And Prez will comment his address in the YouTube comments. So,
oh no, I'm giving Carm's address out. I'll just drive to Carm's to pick it up.
Okay. I talked about it on Sunday, Prez, about this, and the fact of the matter is, people call it square or chalky or all these different type of cliche words they want to use. The fact of the matter is, favorites win. Not always, but there's going to be days like today where we do like favorites. I haven't played a lot of dogs this year. When I have, I've had a pretty good record, and it's just about finding that favorite you do like. And today, we all kind of like these favorites to get the job done here. So look forward to the games tonight. Only 3 games, of course. I know I kind of messed up at the beginning of the show, but the Seattle and Winnipeg game has been canceled due to weather in Manitoba. And I look outside my window here in the far East Coast, and it is a beautiful sunny day. And I am happy I'm not in Manitoba getting snowed on and having a storm. So I hope everything's all right there, though, and I hope everyone stays safe. But that game is canceled. Let's jump into what we have up at WagerTalk, and of course, our best bets as well. You can find all 3 of us at WagerTalk.com. There are just so many sports going on right now, from soccer to NBA to NHL to MLB, of course, golf, UFC on the weekends. There's just so much going on. I love this time of year. Carmel, I'll start with you, man, for what you have going today with your clients, and of course, your best bet for today.
Yeah, only one NHL game. And Andrew, before I get into the best bet segment and what I have up at WagerTalk, I get it. We look at today's 3 games. Yesterday we had 14 games and a bunch of really good ones, and then we get stuck with I think 3 lemons tonight that just look as they're chalk. I'm actually hoping there's probably an upset somewhere, maybe in the Columbus game, because I'm gonna take those other 2 and time into a parlay. But it's just it's hard to make a case for some of these games, and it just looks like square picks. But as you said, sometimes the favorites are just favorites, and they're going to win. So with that said, let's get into this. I have a couple games up, afternoon Champions League. Let's see if we can rebound off that loser with Bayern Munich yesterday. 1 play up in NHL. We'll see if we can keep that 8-0 NHL run going. And then as far as it goes, this might look like a square play, but I just don't see a lot from this Philadelphia team. I'm going to take the New York Rangers on the puck line here, -1.5, +120. Georgiev, like I said, 5 straight wins for him. This Philadelphia team didn't look like they competed at all their last couple of games after that 2-0 lead against the Anaheim Ducks. And Rangers probably remember losing at home 4-3 just a few days ago to this team. So it's a division rivalry, but it's one where I think the Rangers come out on top. So let's take the Rangers -1.5, +120 as your show best bet. Prez?
Brandon Katz is awesome, dude. Permanently chatting in the chat room. McKinnon will show in the playoffs once again how much better he is than McDavid. I don't recall McKinnon doing anything in the playoffs ever. But the reason Austin Matthews has 2 balls is so McDavid and McKinnon can carry one of them each. Anyway, my best bet is Colorado in regulation at minus 145. I have two NHL plays up for my clients tonight. The first time I've had a multi-game package of NHL plays in months. I love the card tonight. Send me some cheesecake. Carm, I love you. Somebody in the chat room thinks you don't love me. We know you love me. We spooned yesterday at 5:32 p.m. I have marked down. It was a pleasure. Andrew, I love you too.
No.
I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, no. What you do have to remember, Prez, is you are taking me out to dinner. The Calgary Flames are going to win the Pacific. They are also making the playoffs. So I'm bringing a couple of my friends that you know. Rob Braley will be coming to dinner at Blue Bloods, and our good friend Brian Boobs will be coming as well too. So I'm looking forward to picking up the tab for three guys and yourself.
Wait, his last name is Boobs?
So you expect me to pick up the tab for all of those people? I will do that. However, I'm not picking up the tab for you that night. The concept was I want to have dinner, the two of us. When we have dinner, the two of us.
Yeah, come on, Carm. He's trying to have a one-on-one with you. Why are you
dude?
inviting people, man? Come on.
Like we spooned yesterday at 5:35 p.m. What's up, man? What's up? No. Andrew, please finish the show.
I was in an Uber, but that's all good. Andrew?
I have an early baseball game going off in a couple hours. Yesterday, 2-0 sweep, so hopefully keep building off that. In baseball, 6-4 in one start, so we'll try and build on that record. Of course, I have one team total going later on in the day and one NHL play. And of course, as you can see on the screen, Mound 3. Use that promo code, get 3 days all access for the same price of one. Mound 3. And my best bet, guys, we're taking a look again at the Rangers and Flyers over 6. Both teams off losses, both teams on back-to-backs. And I think we'll see desperation from both. And also maybe a little letdown spot here for the Rangers against a very weak Flyers team that is nowhere near playoff contention after a busy schedule for the Rangers. I think the Flyers can get some of their own, but I do think the Rangers win as well. Give me a 5-3, 6-3 type victory here for the New York Rangers. Get us up and over the total of 6. For Carmine Bianco, WagerTalk.com, New York Rangers, -1.5, +120. Of course, the Prez, also at WagerTalk.com, Colorado in regulation at -140. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow. Brian Leonard joins us on WagerTalk TV.
The NBA playoffs start April 16th, and with the play-in games, there are now 20 teams vying for the NBA championship. The 2022 playoffs give you up to 9 weeks of action, with game number 1 of the NBA Finals not even tipping off until June 2nd. Last year, the NBA playoff package was listed for $249, but we've made it even better this year by lowering the entire 9-week playoff package to $199. While the early bird catches the worm may be a cliche, but it holds true to this incredible offer. The first 99 customers can use the coupon code FIRST99 and save an additional $50 off the playoff package, dropping the price down to $149. That's right, 9 weeks of NBA action for $149. That's under $17 per week. Act fast to use code FIRST99, as only the first 99 customers can use this code.